So you want to be successful and you're wondering, how do I find the right mentors? We're going to talk about that and dealing with criticism in this week's episode of Real Life Success. And today's episode is all about mentors and dealing with criticism. So, when it comes to you finding mentors, depending upon where you are coming from, mentors can be very hard to find, right? So, I want to talk to you a little bit about a Bible passage that I often like to refer to when I'm thinking about success, and it says, if you see a man who is diligent in his business, he's going to stand before kings. And I think kind of what Solomon was drawing on when he said that was people who have the ability to find mentors, men of skill, they have to be men of skill themselves, right? Because it's about the law of attraction, right? In order to be able to deserve what you want, you have to be able to be worthy of what it is that you want, right? You're not going to get out of life just what you want. You're going to have to get out of life who you are, right? To get what you want, you have to deserve what you want, right? Everybody wants to become successful, but does everybody deserve it? Is everybody putting in the work, the sweat equity? Is everybody giving their all to reach this feat? That's what's going to separate you from everyone else. So when you're meeting a mentor, guess what? You're going to have to bring something to the table. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step process on how to find the right mentor. Step one, bring something of value to the table. Now, this may sound kind of basic and whatever the case may be. And you might say, okay, well, I don't need to watch your video to know I have to bring something to the table. But here's how I kind of want to dissect this point. For a lot of us, when we get to the mentor or when we look for mentors, we think that we're going to learn everything from them. And that's not true. When it comes to your mentor that you're going to find, they might be good at one thing or one or two things, but they're not going to have every single area of life in an area of expertise, right? So there's going to have to be something, if you want to attract the right mentors, that you might be able to say, hey, I'm going to attract the right mentor based upon how I can deliver value to them, right? Say, for example, maybe you want to be a construction worker, or you want to be, a CEO of a company, or you want to be a top accountant. There has to be some kind of skill that you need to be able to come to a mentor with that's going to want that mentor to be willing to spend time with you. So maybe you may not be good at accounting and you want to learn how. Maybe you might be good at web design. Let's say that you're talking to the CEO of an accounting company and you realize maybe, maybe they don't have the best website. So maybe you can deliver your value by offering to improve their website, create a new website, show them how to do certain things online, and then they will be more than happy to mentor you. See, for most of us, we run into mentor problems due to greed. All of us, we want to take out these mentors. We want all of these people to help us. But guess what? What are we giving them in return? If you're dealing with a top mentor, chances are they're going to be busy around the clock, right? Because they're not going to be sitting in your college classroom somewhere reading about how to be successful out of a textbook. They're going to be out on the battlefield actually being successful in their industry. So how are you going to be able to catch their attention? Well, again, you have to bring something of value to the table. So this is all about thinking about your strengths. What strengths do you have that's of value to the right mentor? Because right now, you're trying to get yourself ahead, but you need to be able to have something that can get your foot in the door. And when it comes to being successful, you don't want to see somebody that can grant you an opportunity and not be prepared. You want to be prepared when you meet the person, so that way it's already an easy relationship. The second thing that you want to do whenever you're trying to find a mentor is you always want to be able to extend your help, right? Again, most of us, we struggle with having mentors because it's always a me relationship. But when it comes to a lot of mentors, if you put yourself in a position to be able to help them, did you know that you're going to be able to learn so much from them as you go on along the way? Have you ever thought about just, maybe there's a mentor that you're interested in saying, hey, um, I would love to be able to work for you in your business for free. I'd love to be able to intern for you. You could be somebody that makes good money, but if you want to make even better money, guess what happens? Sometimes you're going to have to be willing to work for certain people for free because the question is, what are they getting out of it? Going back to the value one, you have to be willing to do something where you're not only giving your resources, but you're also giving your time. You may need to even give your money, right? If you want to catch the right person and you really want to get their attention, sometimes you might have to find yourself in a situation where you're paying them for their services rather than them paying you, even if you're under their employ. So I want you to think about what resources you have to give them, right? So this comes to the question of resources to gift your mentor. You may gift them with time. You may gift them with money. You may gift them with your own professional network and connections that you know that they can utilize. See, you need to find an entire range of things that, again, is going to sweeten the pot when they take you on as a mentee. Too many of us just want to go right in front of some dream mentor and say, hey, I'm here, come show me everything. It never works like that. See, you have to have value, something of value to bring to the table, but then guess what else? You're also going to have to dedicate yourself to their endeavors, right? And that's not something that you would normally do. Would it be worth it for you to learn from a millionaire for free? Right? Maybe you might work somewhere else for $50,000 a year or even $100,000 a year. But you know what happens when you only take those jobs? You've plateaued because you may not know how to make, six figures, or you may not know how to make the next level up from there. But if you're working for someone for free help, right? If you're offering free help to someone, knowing that you have a series of valuable skills that would otherwise been paid for, guess what happens? You're going to learn from that person directly how to reach that level of income. So I want you to understand, as a mentor or as a mentee, in this case, working with a mentor, it's not always about the money, right? It's about you giving them something in return for what you're going to get out of it. I want you to think about this. Whenever you're taking on a mentor, make sure to be mindful of the mentor test. Remember what I've said in previous videos regarding mentors. Whenever you're operating and dealing and working with a mentor, always ask yourself this question. Is this person operating in a way where if we traded lives right now, I would love it or I would be comfortable with it? See, one of the worst things that you can do whenever it comes to getting mentors, because for some of you, you may not call it mentors, but for you, it's all about influence, right? So the question is, who's in your circle of influence? And this, again, is one of the reasons why your circle and your network of people is so important, because you tell me who your 5 closest friends are, I will tell you who you are. Have you ever been to a restaurant with a group of friends and maybe you were trying to eat healthy and they just happened to eat something that was a little bit on the junky side, and then kind of the social pressure and getting them to get you to have something that was kind of junky made you go, yeah, I'll go ahead and get that too. See, we often find ourselves in settings where through the social influence that we have in our inner circle, we're always going to get pulled to the average of them, right? That's why you always want to be mindful about who you not only have in your inner circle, but anyone who has the power to influence you. That's the reason why I said maybe it's not even about the mentors. You don't see anybody as a mentor. You should take on a series of mentors, but everybody has the power to be secret mentors to you through the power of influence. So the question that you want to have, whenever you find yourself influenced by somebody, or whenever you find yourself taking advice from somebody, in many cases, if it's something of importance to you, you want to ask yourself, would I trade lives with this person? And I'm just giving you this based upon what I've done. Okay, maybe you get some different answers from different people, but this is a rule that's worked for me pretty well. And when it comes to the mentors that I've had, they've said more or less the same thing. Whenever they look for mentors, they look for people who've accomplished what they want to accomplish. And they have 20 plus years of experience in what they want to desire in their own success. See, the problem with so many of us is we have too many unqualified influencers. Here's what it looks like if you're an unqualified influence. So if you're unqualified, right? Unqualified influencers come in the form of family, right? Because we know you love mommy, you love daddy. Everything that they touch turns to gold to you. They can do no wrong. But if you wanted to make $1 million, your mother or your father's never made $100,000. Maybe they're not the right person that you should go to influence you on how to make $1 million. It would be better to go to a person that's made $1 million. See, one of the biggest problems that I tend to find with people when they want to get out of student loan debt is they listen to all of their friends. But the problem is most of the friends that they listen to haven't gotten out of student loan debt. You know, you don't find out how to get out of student loan debt from somebody that's still in student loan debt. You find out how to get out of student loan debt by somebody who's gotten out of student loan debt. You look at somebody that's had a balance that's been comparable to yours, if not higher, and you say, okay, how did you do that? Or if you're applying the rules that I gave you from the previous page, it's a trade-off relationship. You're giving them something of value. You're investing in them the same way that they're investing in you. And then maybe you might learn a lot more than you ever expected, right? So family and friends, a lot of times, not in all cases, but in many cases, they're pretty unqualified, depending upon your circle of influence in terms of being able to give you good mentorship and guidance. Family, friends. I would even go so far as to say, unfortunately, teachers, right? Because when you're taking a lot of your mentorship from teachers or school counselors or whoever the case may be, whoever is in your network, they always have to pass the mentor test. Would you trade lives with this person when in terms of their own success? Have they done the thing that they're telling you to do? You know, it's very easy for you to put all of the wrong reasons in the decision-making factor behind you listening to them. You know, how much you love them really shouldn't have that much to do with it. How much they make you laugh shouldn't have that much to do with it. It should simply have to do with their own success. So we'll talk more in a further video about the importance of mentors, but for now, feel free to subscribe so that way you can learn more about real-life success. Now, when it comes to the subject of criticism, I want to say this. On the road to success, there will always be criticism. Can't escape it, so just embrace it. You know, there's this famous saying that says, I don't know the formula for success, but I know that the formula for failure is trying to please everybody. And that's one of the things that you're going to have to get used to as you're reaching some level of success. You know, you're not going to be able to please everybody all of the time. You know, unfortunately, whenever you're operating and whenever you're moving in your success, criticism will come. Like I said, everyone is going to try to give you their own opinion on how your life should be directed. That's the reason why I'm giving you this law in place so that way you know, okay, who to listen to and who not to listen to. Now, when it comes to receiving criticism, one of the first things that you have to take in mind is, okay, what's the end game behind the criticism, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. And here's what I'm saying, because, sometimes you have people that will receive criticism and because of the fact that they'll be too defensive, sometimes they will not understand the validity behind the criticism, even if there is some level of validity to it. So the first thing that you want to ask is, when it comes to criticism, and criticism is so important because we're all going to get it, and constructive criticism is going to be important for us all on the road to success. The first thing that you have to ask is, what is the end game? So I'll give you an example. Let's say that someone criticizes you while you're on the road to success. Maybe let's say you try to start making a YouTube video, or let's say that you try to start, coming up with some new program, and you have somebody just comes out of the freaking blue, and they're like, "Oh, this program sucks. This video sucks." Okay, well, what is the end game behind that feedback, right? You really can't do too much with that. Now, whether or not the program sucks, I would hope that it doesn't. But a better comment would be, in terms of criticism that somebody might give you, is, I really like the program, but I feel like the program could be better if you did this. See, that gives you what's known as an end game. It gives you a point from which maybe if you consider the criticism, you can pivot, you can try to make adjustments, and then that will cause you to progress and grow in your own set of skills. See, a lot of our biggest and best learning is going to come through criticism, right? It's going to come through mistakes and failures. So the first thing that you have to ask yourself is, what is the end game, right? The second thing that you probably want to do is, you want to ask them questions. Now, why do I say ask them questions? If you're dealing with just a flat out hater, right? There's nothing that they're going to say that should actually hold any weight at all when it comes to your success, right? Because they're just hating on you just to hate. And unfortunately, some people are like that. But then when it comes to some people, they have criticisms that are valid, and it's worth it for you to put down your guard and actually ask questions. So when I'm saying ask questions, this is what I mean. When you're asking questions, if someone says, "You know what? Yeah, that was a good video. I thought it could be better." The best thing to respond with is by saying, "Okay, thanks for your feedback. Try to take a little bit of the edge off. I know you might be feeling threatened, maybe even insecure, but try to take a little bit of the edge off and say, okay, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. What are some of the ways in which you felt I could do better? Or what are some of the ways that you would have maybe enjoyed the video experience?" However you want to language that, however you can convey the message of, I want to know all of the ways how you thought my video could be better without it turning into an argument. At the end of the day, if their opinion is serious, it's only going to help you. Again, if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to know how to deal and manage criticism. When I'm giving you these questions, it's helping you be able to filter out people with valid criticisms versus just sheer out haters. And you're going to get both. It's inevitable, right? So don't discard everybody's feedback, because guess what? Somebody's always watching. So let's say that you have an online business or you're trying to put something out, you're trying to come out with something new. Somebody hates on it, right? Um, Somebody else is looking at how you respond to it. It's going to be indicative of your own, it's going to be indicative of your own character in terms of how you choose to respond to their comment. So you always want to make sure that whenever you're taking in the criticism, you're taking a step back, you're processing what's being said, and then just following the system. One, what is the end game? What can I extract from this to make me better? Two, ask them questions. Ask them, how could it be better? What didn't you like about it? If I did this, would that have been better? It's only going to make you better, right? So this is just a very short video talking a little bit about finding the mentors, having the right mentors in place, but then also understanding that criticism will come along on a road to success, and this is exactly how you should deal with it. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to leave me a comment. I want you to tell me what you thought about the video. I want you to tell me how you go about finding mentors. I want you to tell me about a time where maybe you tried to reach out to a mentor, but things didn't go exactly how you wanted it to. Maybe you thought about ways that it could have been better. I'll give you my feedback as soon as I hear yours. Don't forget to subscribe. This is another episode of Real Life Success.